Maybe it's the cold metal bars. Maybe I just hit my head against the brick walls one too many times. Prison. It's not what you imagine it when you're on the outside. I think the most surprising thing when I arrived at prison was the smell. It's odd. You imagine all sorts of nasty, gross, and disgusting things that go on in prison. All those barely washed, sweaty human bodies all piled in there together in that dungeon, and it's actually not that bad. Oh, there's a very subtle smell, a persistent odor of something like underarms and feet. But it's sort of background, sort of not very strong or pungent. After a while, it reminds you of the neighborhood you grew up in. After a while, you learn to tune it out. Sometimes you get a whiff of it. It reminds you of the smell of your parents when they came home from a long day of work when you were just a child. It wasn't all that bad, but it was surprising. It's all the things that you don't expect, didn't expect, could never expect. Oh, I'm sure you've seen the movies, you've heard the stories, but at night, early in the morning, all times of day, burying my head under the pillow for that noise. It had only been the last few weeks I'd been hearing it, and I wished they would stop torturing that robot. The metallic screams. I imagined in my sleep the beady red glowing eyes, the poor electronic mechanical mechanism, the thing, and they were torturing it. It made god-awful noises like the old sound of the internet trying to connect when we had to do dial-up. There's a memory. It made a terrible screeching, far worse than fingernails on a blackboard. It was something cold and metallic and hot with passion and suffering all at the same time. It would wake me right up out of my nightmares. I'd be seeing its beady little red eyes in my dreams and shocked too from the noise of it, the screeching and the agony. Waking up in a hot sweat, overwhelmed with the heat, the humidity. Bars covered the window but open to the outside. God, it was so hot down here. Somehow the block walls were still slightly cold to the touch. That's the miracle of block and metal bars. I'd look out in the courtyard and try to catch an eye of it. Get my eye on this image of the poor mechanical thing being tortured. Who would make a robot that could feel pain? Why would you make a robot that could feel torture? Was it because you wanted to torture it? You wanted to cause it agony? It made me think of the human condition. I mean, I know that's not what God intended for us, but certainly the devil, the devil uses it all the time. The devil in the world, it's all agony enough. I pounded my head against the wall again and again because I wish they'd stop. When is it going to give up? When's it going to relent? When's it going to die? When are they going to stop torturing that poor robot? I wanted to scream. Finally awakening again, that hot sweat, the cold walls and the cold bars, the smell of underarms and feet, the neighborhood where I grew up, my parents and a happier time, a happier time. Making my way, tippy toes, just like a kid at Christmas, but looking out that window, the wafting, humid stink of the outside air coming in on my sweaty face and wondering if I could see it. When were they going to stop torturing that poor robot? Then finally, with daybreak, the rising sun, when everything was clear, crystal clear, I could see what was really going on. I could finally make it out. big giant bucket, tractor, crane, scoop, some kind of construction. Every time they rammed that metal bucket into that stone, the screeching, the racket, the noise, the robot was all in my head. God, I must really be sick. It was all in my head.